Greetings! It is I, Tantus Naravan Dracovin, Lord and Emperor of the Dracovin Empire. Welcome! It's time to continue our talking about the 4th edition of Shadowrun. So let's dive into it. We've been talking about rules in combat, and that's where I'm going to dive into with some more of them. Let's talk about the full defense. Now, there are 3 types of full defense you can talk about. This is expanding from the defense modifiers I was talking about last time. But the 3 types of full defense you can take are a full dodge, a full parry, or a gymnastics dodge. Let's explain each of these. So the full dodge is the one I've mentioned a little bit before. How you have to think about this is you can use it in either melee or ranged. If I use it in ranged, I get my reaction plus my dodge, and that's it. Normally I would only get my reaction. If I use it in melee, I get my reaction plus my dodge again. Now, this isn't the only one you can do. You can use for a full dodge. You can use your reaction plus your melee skill plus your dodge. You can do that also, and that's another option for the melee one. Now, the full parry is a little different. The full parry, you would be using it only in melee. So this is only a melee one, and it adds your reaction plus your melee skill twice. So you're effectively using your melee skill to block. Now, you can use the gymnastics dodge. The gymnastic dodge, you can use it in ranged or melee, and all it would be is you're adding your gymnastics skill to whatever dodge you normally do. So it's effectively the same as the full dodge I talked about earlier, except instead of adding an extra dodge on, you're adding gymnastics on. Now, all of these are a complex action you have to take. Now, the thing is, you don't actually have to take it on your turn, though. This is a little unique thing. If on any combat turn that you're not surprised in, so you can't be surprised, you can choose to declare a full dodge at any time. So effectively, it would mean that you're getting attacked, you've already taken your turn, you've already acted, I can declare full dodge. What this means is, the next available complex action I have, on my next action phase I take, whether it's on this turn or another turn, I replace that with the complex action of the full defense. So I effectively am using up my next action ahead of time. Now, this means that my full defense would end on that turn, unfortunately, but if it's a situation where all of a sudden you're surprised, you're getting a lot of attacks on you, it might be useful to use this complex action ahead of time and get the defenses for this combat turn, because on my next turn, I can get out of the way of this and not have to worry about it as much. Granted, I could still continue to use the complex actions ahead of time, but that's completely up to the way you want to use your character at that point in time. Now, there is an action called interception you can use. Interception occurs when an enemy passes within 1 meter of you, or an enemy attempts to leave melee combat with you. Either of these times you can use the interception action. The interception action is a free action you can do in response to this person. You can make a melee attack against them. So if someone tries to run by you that's an enemy, and you have a melee weapon in hand, you can use that. Or you could use your unarmed, if you roll either of them, and try to basically intercept them for moving by you. Again, it's the same as if they try to run away out of melee combat with you. You can attempt to intercept them with a punch or a weapon if you have it in hand. Now, it's a normal attack roll. You're getting as a free action that's taking place on your opponent's turn, and should you hit and deal damage, they don't move. They stop their movement. Effectively, you've intercepted them, but you have to actually deal damage with whatever melee attack you have in hand. So using the interception is good to put yourself in a place where you maybe want to get into melee attacks with people, but there's a time and a place for using it. It's just an interesting thing. If you're in melee combat with someone, it is useful. So let's talk about knocking down. Now, knockdown occurs most of the time when you are taking damage from an attack and the damage is equal to or exceeds your body, you're automatically knocked down. Now, should you be like a troll and have a really ridiculous body, if you ever take 10 or more damage from an attack, you're also automatically knocked down. So both of those situations, if I take damage equal to or more than my body, or if I should happen to have a body higher than 10, which can happen, if I take 10 or more, I'm automatically knocked down too. And you're actually taking this damage, whether it's stun or physical damage. Now, there are certain weapons which are made to knock down someone better. Effectively what they do is they reduce your body by a certain amount when calculating if the damage they're dealing knocks you down. So the weapon would say, like, it would effectively drop your body by 2 when figuring out if I would knock you down. It's a weapon made to knock you down. Now, you can attack to knock down. What this would mean is you would make an attack roll as normal, and you look at how many extra successes you have. You would take those successes and add it to your strength, and if that number exceeds your target's body that you're hitting, you knock them down and deal no damage. So you're attacking to knock them down effectively. So I'm making an attack, and I'm not trying to deal damage, I'm just trying to knock someone down. Now, last thing in this section I want to talk about is subduing. Subduing is very similar to the last thing I talked about, the attack to knock down. Effectively, it's the same, that you make a melee attack, and you note how many net hits you have, and then you compare your strength plus the net hits you had versus the opponent's body. And if you should exceed it, you can start a grapple. A grapple will deal no damage, you're holding on to them. The target is also immobile, so he or she can't move. Now, the defender can attempt to use a complex action to escape from the grapple. They would roll a strength plus unarmed test with a threshold equal to the number of hits that originally were received to grapple you, and they can continually try to escape the grapple. The more successes they get, the less hits it is, and it's a process of escaping from the grapple. Now, effectively, when someone is grappled, they are prone to attacks and immobile. So I've said they were mobile before, but they also are considered prone to attacks when it comes to modifiers to other people attacking them. Now, whoever is grappling, the grappler, I should say, doesn't have to make any kind of action on their turn to maintain this grapple. They've got a hold of them. They can do a couple of things on their turn. First, they can make an unarmed test to see if they can get a better grip. In this, they roll, and any net hits they gets themselves a better grip on the target. Unfortunately, on the defense roll, if the opponent scores more net hits, then they reduce some of the successes you had previously. So this action can get you in a situation where you can actually lose grip, because it is defended by your opponent, and should the defending opponent score a lot more hits than you, you lose grip. Now you can choose to inflict stun damage. This would be equal to your strength value, and the person would defend against it in the normal way, that they would roll their body plus whatever armor is appropriate to the kind of damage you're dealing to see if they would soak the damage. But there's no roll needed, you're automatically dealing damage, they can soak the damage as normal. And the last thing is you can actually attack to knock down, similar to what I talked about before, when you're grappling. You get a superior position modifier to your rolls when doing this, so it's easier to knock someone down when you're already grappling. Now, all of these are complex actions, these ones that the grappler can do. So that's it for today. I talked about defending, I talked about intercepting, knocking down, and subduing people. And next time I'm going to talk about dying and damage. That's a wonderful topic to talk about, but it's important to talk about in this one, so that's next time. If you have any questions, comments, anything you want to say, anything you think I left out, please leave in the comments below. Please like this video if you enjoyed it. It shows your support for the channel and the Empire. Please subscribe if you already haven't. We're always looking for members, more citizens. And please share this video. You know anybody who will learn from it, or would just enjoy watching it, please share it with them. And until the next time, I bid you farewell.